Each legend in Apex has a different level of difficulty. Some are very simple and easy to understand as well as play, others make you want to rip your hair out. Some will be easy to really master, others not so much. But your choice in legend also plays a big role in how easy of a time you'll have progressing. So today I've got 3 legends that are going to be super easy for you to main so that you can progress easier and faster. But first, if you want more in-depth guides, make sure to head over to the GameLeap website where we have literally hundreds of guides to help you improve faster. Guides covering fundamentals, advanced movement techniques, advanced legend tutorials, gameplay breakdowns, and so much more. So if you actually want to learn faster and become insane at the game, I highly recommend you join the GameLeap family to get instant access to all the in-depth guides by checking out the link in the description below. Now, I should preface this by saying that the ease of use for the legends and how effective they're really gonna be depends on your goals. The easiest legend to main in ranked is not gonna be the same as the easiest legend to main for solo or for solo no-fills. With that in mind, I decided to break down this list based on most common goals. Becoming a solo no-fill 1v3 pub stomp daddy or mommy, climbing the ranked ladder without ripping your hair out, and the best all-rounder for really any goal you decide. First up, the solo no-fill champs, we've got Octane. Octane is a fantastic legend to main because even though he is not really meta per se, he is still a great legend to entry frag with and can be really forgiving in most cases because you have his stim as an out. So even if you are trying to do other things besides solo no-fill, Octane can work really well in most cases without having to really master him. I mean, his abilities are relatively straightforward. His tactical gives him a speed boost at the cost of health, and his ultimate lets you rotate you and your team on a relatively short cooldown. Really, the main problem you will run into when playing him in a team setting is that a lot of people like to play him, so sometimes it can be difficult to pick him if you aren't first in line, which is another reason why he is great for solo no-fill, because in this case you will always get to pick him. But what exactly is it that makes him so good as a legend to main for solo no-fills? Well, his stim allows you to have a ton of control over space, and the better you control space, the more you control a fight and the more likely you are to win. Octane makes it much easier to reposition frequently and lead enemies into poor positions where you can then turn and punish them for trying to chase you, which they will basically never be able to catch up if you do things correctly. So unless there is another Octane on their team or maybe a Pathfinder in spot moments, they're not going to be able to catch you as long as you don't overstep your boundaries and put yourself in a position where you cannot turn to run. This is the general game you need to be playing anyways when solo no-filling, regardless of the legend you choose, because these are the techniques used to isolate players. And when you are in a 1v3 situation, if you don't successfully isolate the players, then you aren't going to get anywhere. However, since Octane is so fast, he can easily poke, then fall back and repeat the process until the enemy eventually splits up and trickles into your line of sight, where you can then pick them off one by one, and they will again never be able to catch you simply because of your movement speed. And if things turn really sour, you can just use your jump pad to quickly change the dynamic of the fight, whether it be taking high ground or just creating more distance. Generally, this is much harder to do on other legends, even the ones who do have an out, such as Wraith for example. Yes, she has her invulnerability, but because her movement speed matches other legends and since her tactical is slow to activate, it makes it much less forgiving if you get caught in a position of no return or if you slip up and let the enemy players get too close. With Octane, you just instantly stim and outrun them. One problem you're likely going to run into with Octane, however, is stimming too much or stimming when you shouldn't, because you have to remember it does eat your health, and if you do it too much in quick succession, it may bite you, so just be careful with that. I should also say that while Octane is pretty easy to pick up and use, he's actually not an easy legend to master by any means. He has a ton of movement capability that no other legend can accomplish, such as bunny hop heals, just for an example, but there's others, and he has a bunch of ways to implement tap strafing and other movement tech as well. So when it comes to movement and true mastery, there is a lot to Octane, but he also can make movement much easier than other legends as well due to his stim, so this is just another reason why he can be a much easier legend to main than others, particularly for no-filling. But it's because he has so much access to other movement tech due to his movement speed that other legends just don't have access to. There are actually really difficult things to accomplish. They're not super simple, just easy tap strafes. It's nothing like that. No, I'm talking about like these weird neo strafes and things like that. So Octane, easy to pick up, easy to use, but hard to master. Next up on our list is the easiest legend to main for ranked, and that is Bloodhound. I don't think anyone is in disagreement here when we say Bloodhound in general is probably the easiest legend to main in the entire game overall. I mean, a toddler can understand and probably master their abilities. They scan for their tactical, their ultimate lets them scan more fasters with a bonus to their movement speed, and they smell the feeties. Not really much to master there, for being honest. If you disagree, you're probably a Bloodhound main who bought that hideous mythic skin huffing that copium juice to justify your wasted $160. Okay, sorry, maybe that was a little bit mean, but come on, let's be honest, that skin sucks. There is a reason why the first legend everyone pretty much picks when they start playing is Bloodhound. They are just so simple to understand and they offer a lot to the team. With that said, besides their simplicity, the main thing that makes Bloodhound our #1 pick for the easiest to main in ranked is because the scan meta is very much a real thing, and Hound has been the meta for a long time now, until people finally realized that Seer was actually never really bad in the first place. Seer is strong, but he is not easy to use, and nothing has changed for Hound. The only difference is that people realized Seer is really good, but for Hound, things are literally the same as when they were the meta scan legend, which is why Hound is easily the best pick for ranked in terms of value provided to ease of use ratio. The main issue you're going to run into with Hound is that there will be Seers running around everywhere, so enemy teams will have higher quality and higher frequency with their scans, but this won't be the case for long, because I promise you, the reason they are releasing the Seer heirloom is so they can make monies before nerfing him. They did it with Valk, I called it with Valk, and they're gonna do it again with Seer, I promise you, I promise you. In general, I hope they nerf the scan meta, but it's doubted that's going to happen when they're legends whose entire purpose of being is to be a scan daddy, so Hound is likely not only to be a safe bet, but an easy one when it comes to ranked. And finally, for our all-rounder legend who is easiest to main, meaning really no matter what your goal is, whether it be solo no-fill, pub stomping, or climbing ranked, you can never go wrong with Horizon. Horizon is easily one of the most versatile legends in the game, which is proven by the fact that no matter how many times they nerf her, she's always a top tier pick and eventually ends up back on top. Horizon is one of the few legends who can switch roles at the drop of a dime, moving from the entry frag to secondary to anchor or support. Her kit is just insanely good for a wide variety of situations, and that is what makes her so good for being an all-rounder. Even after they nerfed the cooldowns and nerfed the effectiveness of the ultimate, she still ended up being the highest picked legend in high ranked lobbies. Not to mention, Horizon in general is very easy to pick up and use. Her passive handles itself, her tactical can be used to get in, get out, or take height without any effort at all, and her ultimate is also very straightforward. Basically, you throw, go boom. She is the #1 picked legend in ranked by a long shot, and with good reason. No legend who is extremely difficult to master or main is going to be at the top. That is just not how things work. Meta is defined by an ease of use to value provided ratio. Legends or weapons who can do both are what's going to be at the top in any game always. And the way her kit is designed just so happens to accomplish an amazing balance of exactly that. In fact, the ratio is so good that she can get away with being extremely effective in ranked, solo, and pub situations with ease. However, some would argue that Horizon is difficult to master because of her passive. To really get use out of her, you have to learn more advanced movement, and while that is true, keep in mind her passive actually makes advanced movements such as tap strafes and bunny hops and whatnot significantly easier than other legends. So if you look at it that way, again, she is easier to use for movement, not harder. And it's not like Octane where she has a bunch more tech available to her because of her passive. It's just not the same. And plenty of people main her without doing 360 tap strafe dolphin flips, so her true value really does come from her tactical and ultimate. Her tactical being insanely versatile on a relatively short cooldown that is super simple and easy to use, and her ultimate for an easy ace when used correctly. That's pretty hard to beat in regards to being an easy all-rounder legend. So, do you agree with this list? What legends would you put as the easiest to main for ranked, solo no-fill, and the all-rounder positions? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Okay, love you, bye.